Go ahead and call this meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can you please do the roll call?
Supervisor Craig, Supervisor Thorne,
Here.
Chairman Shaler,
Here.
Supervisor Bromer, and Supervisor Wolford.
Here. First item on the agenda, citizens' concerns. Anyone here who wishes to address the town board? Can I get a motion to go into public comment?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Bob and a second by, well, you started it. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Second by Bob and the first by Bob. You first, right, Bob?
I was
Motion
meaning
made,
Ralph,
second.
Ralph,
Yep.
second.
Ralph seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Who wants to start? We're gonna start with Russ and see here from out of town. So
No problem.
I guess we didn't know we were coming.
No, I just want to be here tonight just to give you an update under public comments real quick on the 2019 proposed street improvement project. We met with Steve Pins, your street and utility supervisor, a couple months ago and spent a few hours talking about the project and then driving all the streets within the project area just to make sure we understood everything and so forth. So that was a very good meeting. So we've been busy, completed the field, what we call the topographic and data collection survey for design. So we're well through our design process. By next week, we'll be at what we call our 60% design completion stage. So we'll be meeting, we have a meeting scheduled next Thursday at 9 a.m. here at Town Hall with Steve and Ralph and whoever else may want to come. We call it our design review meeting. Go through the 60% plans and so forth so we can proceed with final plans. We're also proposing on Wednesday, January 16th, our public information meeting, open house. Same thing that we did back in 2016, held it here at Town Hall from 4 to 7, and we'll stay later as residents keep coming in if it's 8 or 9 o'clock. So we're just looking to see if that date works for everyone, because I'll probably next week start sending out the notices to all the residents on the project. I dropped a map off at your table there tonight just to show you all the street projects. Walnut Street on the south end, after driving the project with Steve, we did add that. That wasn't included in the original project, but we're going to include that area. That was key on his list. So we'll include that in as another alternate bid item and just see how the bids come in, and then you can decide if you want to add that project and see how bids come in. There might be enough money to do it. It'll be it's added to the project. So give that some thought too, if that Wednesday the 16th is fine. Like I said, it's a nice open house. I think in 2016 we had a really good turnout, and it's nice for people, retired people and so forth. They can come in early, and it's any time from 4 to 7 or 4 to 8, and then people that are working will arrive a little bit later. And what we do is we explain the project area, what's going to be addressed, in terms of the street reconstruction, storm sewer, and so forth. So we get a lot of input from that meeting, so people know. We explain the schedule and bidding. We're intending on start advertising in January and having bids come in February, so we can get on the beginning of the list of all the contractors for the beginning of the year. So it looks real good. The Chosen Valley is out on site this week getting some soil borings or pavement cores for us, just so we know how much thickness of asphalt and base we have, in terms of our design and the final product. So you see some activity out there. Chosen Valley out of La Crosse here is doing some soil borings for us. So the project's moving along on schedule. That'll open it up to any questions you may have. Been having some discussions too with La Crosse County Highway. We've requested if they have any construction as-built drawings or plans of the existing storm sewer what information they have on the storm sewer system, if they've done any maintenance, or if they've televised the storm sewer system or not. I haven't received anything at this date. I did get an email back. They mentioned that this fall they were gonna jet and clean the existing storm sewer on Bainbridge, but with the weather, they didn't get to it, so it sounds like something that's planned. So, waiting for some more information on that. And I did get some design feedback from Ron Chamberlain, the highway commissioner, making sure we don't add any additional stormwater runoff or capacity that's going into the system right now. And I said, no, that's not our intent to add anything. You know, where there's storm sewer now, we're gonna replace that with storm sewer. You know, we're planning on putting some of our infiltration systems in that, you know, even reduce some of the stormwater that's going to Bainbridge. So, I said, if you increase the capacity, anything you increase the capacity out to Bainbridge, then the town would have two choices. One, a jurisdictional transfer to take over that section of highway, or two, be responsible for the entire storm sewer system. So we know that's not going to happen. So we'll make sure we don't add any additional runoff and capacity. So we'll have some additional design calculations and so forth we'll have to submit to the county. And then obviously get some permits for where we're connecting all of the streets out to Bainbridge, to County B. Just remind us, make sure we get their work in the county right-of-way permits. So we're starting to work with them real close and asking questions and letting them know about the project. So.
Did you guys, speaking of Chosen Valley, did you guys get that? You got that email? Did they reach out to you at all, Fred?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, I got it. Fred talked to Steve and
Okay.
got everything coordinated. So
Okay.
marked up where your
What's that?
facilities are, so they don't. You know.
Yeah. No, well, I talked to him earlier, and I just said,
Yeah.
yeah, I know the people you need. So
Yeah. I just got the email this afternoon,
okay,
so we're all cleared.
good.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Questions for us? Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, the Thursday street meeting that you're gonna have, what's the date of that and the time? No?
That's the 20th, next Thursday, 9 o'clock.
Okay. Thanks.
Anything else for us? Thank you. I guess we'll move on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ. Anybody else? Public comment? Go ahead.
Jeff Bellamy, 1503 Caroline Street. On behalf of Beatrice and Todd Bellamy, 1315 LaCrescent Street. Unfortunately, you probably don't realize it, but LaCrescent Street by Hillbillies actually narrows and then widens. They are not getting a full plowing done on the south direction by the intersection south from Hillbillies down. They rotate their vehicles from side to side, and that's probably where the side plow would come in handy for the town to plow that, because they're not plowing the whole street. It's just like they're going down the middle of the street and not plowing on both sides, because it's ridiculous. I was there today, and I come real close to falling. It's not being plowed off the street. Probably a whole width of a vehicle being left on both sides, not being plowed, because the north end is narrow, the south end is wider, and they're just like they're going right down the middle and not doing any more. So that needs to be relooked at. So that's in your hands, and I think the side plow should be used there. It is a wider section, and the side plow would be the appropriate thing to do. Thank you.
We'll give her a look.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, F under new business, can you explain that to us?
What's that?
F under new business? Can you give us explanation what that's all about?
Which one are you on?
F under
Oh, F.
number 5?
Oh, well, that's something that Mr. Chad's always brought up to me every month, so I didn't want to make it a Terry decision, I wanted to make it a board decision.
So what's that gonna involve then?
Well, either we might eliminate one or both, or keep both, or it's up to the board, not up to me. I didn't want to make it a Terry decision.
Chad always dictating to you about that. It seems like he's the one that was behind it before, cutting back on the 2 minutes on the end of it. Seems to me like it's a little compromise on free speech.
Anything else, Bruce?
Let's see, yeah, you filled the police fire and personnel committee
No.
slots yet?
No, kind of tried to.
How many are open or,
Haven't done much with it, to tell you the truth, Bruce.
are you looking for members or?
Sure, I can always take it.
So, what are you looking for, 5?
At 5, maybe 2 alternates would be good.
Let's see, you got your name behind D on there too, about updates on the policy and procedure manual.
Well, actually, that's Mitch, but they just want to take a look again at the sick hours for the employees. Mitch wanted to have it on there. I'm always willing to look at it. I'd always thought the previous board set it up that way. I thought we'd just leave it, but yeah, I'm always open to look at it.
So, yeah, for now.
All right. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Daryl Schumacher, Callaway Boulevard. What's the status on that Fisherman's Road? We got locked, a whole bunch of us got locked in there the other night again.
Yeah. Well, I guess it belongs to the city of La Crosse, so if you do get locked in, hopefully you got a cell phone to call, so they'll come and open it for you.
Well, you know, everybody doesn't have a cell phone. I very seldom carry one.
Yeah.
Some guys ahead of me have one.
Does it not open from the inside out?
Well, it's what Mitch was saying. It used to have an eye.
It's supposed to be an eye that
There's- but
trips
it
so the
doesn't
gate
work.
opens if you're coming out
It
and then it
doesn't work
closes.
well half the time, or else if you don't drive in there right, it doesn't hit you.
Yeah,
But if they're gonna close it half the time, I think you better check to see if they only get half their taxes from the state or county or whoever.
the town doesn't have much control over it, Daryl, so I don't know much we can do to help you.
We can ask them to fix it though, right?
Yeah. We can maybe contact the airport there and see.
I can see where they want to close it. There's junk laying all over back there.
Oh, yeah.
Couches,
Oh, no kidding.
sacks of leaves, deer heads, everything.
Wow. Anything else, Daryl?
No?
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ben.
Kevin Campbell, 2620 Delray, just on that project, there's a water issue in the road. Just let you know I'm still here and still concerned, so if we got anything in place, so if we get a rain in December again like last year, if we got extra pumps set aside or something to back that up, or,
Yeah, we're gonna make sure that thing's functional before that time gets here. We won't run into that again.
big sponges, well, I got my own pump now, I don't know about that, so. Just making sure it's still on the agenda and still in the works, so.
Yep, we are definitely moving forward there.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Lee.
Going off that one, what's the plan?
We're still right where we were 2 weeks ago. Nothing has changed in the last 2 weeks, except for I've talked about a little bit more, what we still need to get together. But yeah, other than that, nothing's changed.
Also going on that comment at the last meeting that we had, you made a comment to Bruce when he asked about the project, and you asked him if he was personally affected by that area.
Mhm.
I want to let you know that I feel like that was a very inappropriate comment to come back with.
Okay.
We're all a community. It doesn't matter whether we have relations there, we have friends there. You don't know. Bruce might have family sitting in that area.
Okay,
So I think that
that's why I
comment,
asked.
I think that comment that you made was very inappropriate, and we are a community, so what happens to one happens to all. So if you have a problem with understanding what that word means, a dictionary is always available. Under F, Chad, what's why are we bringing it up every month? Or maybe, Chairman, why are we bringing it up every month? We'll leave it up to him instead of,
Well, it's always mentioned to me all the time about eliminating, and so I thought I didn't want to make the decision myself, and I wanted to make it a board decision.
so are our comments that we bring up to you at the beginning and the end, are they annoying? Do they take up too much time in writing up the minutes? What's the deal? Are we,
I guess we're going to discuss it. So I guess if you oppose or you have a position, that's what we're
it's
looking
kind of
at.
obvious where I'm at, isn't it?
You oppose any change, I would assume, but I don't want to assume.
Well, but we've had this discussion before. We've had this discussion before, whether it was in public or not in public. We've had this discussion before. And if we come to you and we want to say something in the public forum, our question is, or my question is, if you're going to eliminate one of them, are the questions that we're proposing to you guys, are they annoying? Are we taking up too much of your time? Because going back on what Bruce said, it could be a First Amendment issue. I mean, we don't always want to be calling you guys all the time. We want to be talking to you guys in a public forum as well. We want to give you kudos or shame for making decisions at the end of the meeting. That's kind of the reason why we asked for it at the end of the meeting. When I think it was when Bruce and I were on the board when we asked to have that put on there. It's kind of the reason why we had it on there. The more people that talk, the more people that have the opportunity to talk, the better. And I don't think you guys want me calling you guys all the time. Once a month for me to talk to you guys is probably enough on both sides. So I want to just tell you how my feeling on it, and whether that goes in one ear and out the other, or you actually take it, that's up to you guys. But I think it's dumb if you guys want to get rid of something like that. It's great use to us.
Anything else?
No, I'm irritated enough as is. I don't need more.
Anybody else? Last call? Can I get a motion to call the public comment?
Move to close.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Ralph, second by Terry. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Let's move down to the consent agenda, items A through C. If there's no action taken on the consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Mitch, second by Terry. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Move down to business 5A. Appointment of elected officials for 2018 to 2019 term. Mr. Chad?
So during the last couple elections and throughout the time, the office staff has done a nice job of recruiting a few new potential election inspectors for us. So as usual, they need to be approved by the board. So
A motion to approve the 6 new election inspectors.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Kelsey, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Call the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Move down to 5B, ordinance number 2018-2, exception from treasurer's bond. Mr. Chad?
So back into this time of year again with the disputes that we've had last couple of years regarding the treasurer's bond. I know last year we opted to use the crime policy that we pay for their bond. The county reluctantly accepted it, but they're giving me hassle again this year. I guess I'm asking that we just create the ordinance that exempts the treasurer's bond, and we still have the crime policy in place, but this would fulfill their need for not being bonded, I suppose. It does save the town approximately $3,500 a year. And again, the crime policy still is in place. But that way we don't have to go through this again. The other option would be to get the bond, but again, it's about $3,500.
Why does the county have heartburn over it?
Because a couple of years ago, the state changed the requirements from a $250,000 bond to now we have to bond to cover our obligation to the county taxes, which is about $1.5 million.
That's right.
which we increased our crime policy to cover anything like that. There is an addendum in the crime policy that covers the treasurer and anybody that handles money for the 1.5. So I mean, technically, we're still covered from theft, but this would fulfill what the county's so reluctant to.
You know, when we did, I think when we were doing that bond, we kept it originally because of that change, and then I think we just kind of kept doing it, if I remember right. Is that correct? When they changed the amount?
Well, they changed the amount as of last year.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, and we had Bud talk with the county and their court counsel and their attorneys, and they agreed to it, but now they're again kind of making a big stink about it. Without either the ordinance or the bond to cover that amount, they're actually threatening to not give me access to the tax system.
So we adopt the ordinance, then we don't have to pay the $3,500.
Which we're still covered under the crime policy for any amounts if I were to run away with all the taxes.
You wouldn't do that, would you?
I wouldn't jeopardize. They don't make enough. We don't collect enough taxes for me to do that. So,
Somebody want to make a motion to,
I'll make a motion to create ordinance 2018-2, Chapter 2 of Article 3, Section 2-50D, exemption from town treasurer's bond of the town of Campbell Code of Ordinances.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Mitch, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Call the motion, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Down to 5C, review and possible updates to the employee policy and procedure manual.
Yeah, currently we have, I don't know what year it happened, it was before I was on the board, but they, when Act 10 was put in place, they stripped all new employees of their sick leave, but the senior employees were allowed to keep their existing sick leave, and I've always been in favor of sick leave for employees. You sometimes can't control if you get cancer or something like that, and so in my own feeling is that we should reinstate the sick leave for all of our employees that are full-time employees.
so in front of you, I have portions of the employee policy and procedure manual that would relate to the benefits. I didn't print you any, the entire manual, but just the ones that pertain to.
Effective.
Yeah.
Be the last page.
So what the change from sick days to personal days is what you want to go back to sick days?
Yeah, we have, I mean, it's still broken out as vacation, however you take the time. But employees, if an employee would become sick, they would have to burn all their vacation or whatever it was to cover that sickness, rather than having their own sick time bank that they could use. And police department maintains it. The senior employees in the maintenance department still maintain it, and then all the new employees do not. All their time comes out of their vacation or whatever bank, their personal leave time bank. And I would like to see the sick time provision be reinstated for all the full-time employees.
How about the personal days then, Mitch? Go back to 2? Because right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They get 5 if you're after 2012.
Correct.
And if you were going to reinstate this, would this start January 1st of 2019? Oh. Or,
Well, that's when I would like to start it, I guess. It'd be easier for the fiscal portion of it.
how much is, well, it really doesn't cost anything in the budget unless they leave.
Well, it doesn't cost anything unless they retire. And then
Retire.
in retirement, there's a payout.
Yeah.
So this was that was a kind of an industry, full industry standard. That's where they limited long-term employees from carrying over lots and lots of vacation, whether they were working at wherever, I don't know, CenturyLink or Gunderson or whatever. So that when that change went in was to align more with that, knowing that there would be a time of or whatever extended period where you'd still have your senior employees that had the old plan. We just didn't want to take that away, but when you came and you went, or as you started new employment here, these would be the agreement on which you accepted employment. So that's when it was implemented. So the reason the senior or the vet or the long-term employees was not to take that away from them, because when they started working was what they agreed to. But new employees agreed to the new plan. So that's why I guess at that point in time, if it was okay to accept under the offer of employment, I feel going forward that it would be okay, or to keep it for whatever the time is until we expire the old plan. That was the premise on which it was done.
Yeah.
So it's not like they joined and we took it away from them. When they started,
Right.
rather than under that.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the plan as it existed, or that was the benefit as it was defined.
Right. If they never use one of the sick days, then they get 14 days, not 12. If they never call in sick 30
Oh, if they don't carry it over? Right.
If they never, like it says, if you go 6 months, you get an extra day.
Right.
Looking for input.
Go ahead, Chad.
No, I mean, it's been one of those things that, again, is contracted through the police department unless we're willing to, when contract negotiations come up for that, the police are still going to receive it. And I don't know how excited they're going to be to take it out of their contract. I know Bruce has talked about fairness and equality amongst all employees of the town. I feel that there are circumstances that warrant having a sick bank. I mean, Joe is a prime example at this point right now. And from a financial standpoint to the town, it doesn't cost us anything unless they retire. And again, if they retire after putting 30 years of work into the town, small price to pay. I mean,
I guess that's up to the future boards. For that, I mean, I don't know what the long-term bank looks like for some of the folks, and without getting into that, but I know that at previous places where I worked, that became substantial. I mean, you're in the tens of thousands.
well, you're looking probably 24,000 at 40% though, if they cash out. So I mean, it's $10,000.
And we only have 10 employees, so it's not like we're going to have, 10, 20, 30 retirements per year that are going to cost a lot of money.
Kelsey?
I'd like to sit on it for a month and think about it. I can't make a decision on this tonight. We all know how I feel. I feel like they should get one bank of time. Use it how you want. I think it should be all rewritten. So I can't make a decision on this today.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about this for 2 months.
If we're going to talk about fairness, then we need to go back and start from the beginning of budget season and fairness along all departments and everything.
Mr. Ralph?
I'm not opposed to it. Necessarily.
Well, if you want to take some time to think about it, I'm not against, holding it over for a month and then having us, give us some time to discuss it and then bring it back next month.
Can I get a motion to hold it over till next month?
So move.
I'll say, no, yes.
You know,
Motion by Mitch, second by Bob. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5D, discussion on Dan Nelson's project. I don't really have a whole lot of updates except for what I came in the office one day and talking to Chad, and I guess something was approved. Was from the county?
No, nothing,
Oh.
nothing, there's been no new changes from the county's perspective.
Did he get those packets?
Packets.
He said he was gonna give us some information.
No, I haven't seen anything from him yet, so. He's still working with DNR, his attorney. He's really, what he's looking for right now is whether or not the original 1975 bulkhead ordinance that the town had originally approved, that the DNR said has never been forwarded to them for final approval, is enough for us to bring back to this board, or if we can just submit that original 1975 for them to maybe look at and approve, or if we need to do a whole rewrite, a new bulkhead ordinance. It's about as much information, so, I mean, there may be a time that it has to come back to the board for approval of a new ordinance, but they're working right now with them to see what the procedure is. 40 years have passed, DNR standards have changed, so, there really isn't any new information as far as that goes, but you guys had held it over, so that's why Terry decided to put it back on the agenda, but.
I guess we'll just move on then, right? Move down to 5D, consideration possible action regarding creation of metropolitan sewage district. I was at a judiciary meeting, that's for the court system, and the Alaska city attorney cornered me about, they were thinking of starting this, and the first meeting I wasn't able to make it, Chad went to it for me, and then there was a meeting last week on the utilities committee, City of Alaska. Bob and I went to it, and we were hoping to learn a little bit more of what they were trying to do, but all it was just a utilities meeting. And tonight's meeting for City of Alaska, they might approve this, they might not. I don't know, right now I think it's kind of going either way with them. I don't know what they're going to do. Bob, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think there was, from the committee chair, he had reservations and questions on detail, which were in line with where we were at, or at least, I mean, not to speak for Terry, but the same areas of concern that we had. So they were looking to make a recommendation to adopt a resolution that wasn't probably fully defined yet. So where that goes, I can't predict for them, but I would say from our standpoint, I would have a hard time adopting. I actually would not support a resolution that had the gaps in it that it currently has. So going forward, I think that the direction and the ability to negotiate for fair, sanitary sewer processing fees and be consistent is shared amongst all the outlying communities. It's just a matter of how do we get there. And I don't, this is one swipe at it. Where it ends up, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'm taking a wait and see what Alaska does tonight. And
yeah, there was a. So when it comes to utilities, I mean, we're pretty well funded. Whereas ours is in good shape. The part of the regional sewer utility is you become now a member of a board with all the other communities. So you go from, really being able to control your costs and your utility to having a voice in a group of people who determine what your utility is going to do and what the costs will be. So that, to me, a couple layers of bureaucracy and loss of control of the cost just didn't seem like something we really wanted to sign on for at this time. So and City of La Crosse being the largest metro by the state statute that I read, owns the treasurer position anyway. So I guess looking at those elements caused enough pause that I don't know where they're going to go. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions in it. So
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, but no answers.
No
yet.
answers.
What's going to happen or what? So I kind of take the wait to see. I seen the gentleman that had the seat before me, Scott Johnson. I asked him and kind of informed him what was going on, and Scott said we've always had a great working relationship with the city on this, on sewerage and wastewater. I hate to ruin that.
yeah, we do. I mean, we have had a fair, and part of it is because we have city residents that live in Campbell.
Yeah.
And that are billed under that same plan, so they try and apply the same pricing structure that they do in the city of La Crosse to those residents, which then we use on our side. So anyway, yeah, that was the latest and greatest. I mean, that was my takeaway from it. I think we agreed. I mean, we're in the same mindset at that point. But
Scott said everything from the airport comes through our pipes, so
industrial,
we get they
the whole
treat
industrial
us
park.
very well then, I guess. So hate to ruin that what we got going on right now. You know, we don't know what if we joined all together with our price, but we paid double, or there's no answers.
Well, if you look at it, and I know this is now, public. It's I don't think it was a secret. I mean, if they're going to do a facility upgrade, and I look at it, go to see La Crosse. I mean, if I'm there, I look at it, man, we got this big, huge facility upgrade, and now we don't have to fund it, and these people all want to do this region. Yeah, let's do it. Because we're still the main shareholder because we're the largest metro, but now we get to do exactly what we're proposing for the agreements where they have to cost share, and they're saying no. They go do this regional committee, now they're cost sharing anyway. I'm like, I just don't see, I mean, that's my perspective. I know there's probably a lot more detail to it, but just on the initial casual takeaway, I mean, if I'm City of La Crosse and I can have the costs get pushed off to this regional sewer utility, I'm like, yeah, go for it. You can still have it here, and we're going to get our money, but all of those costs, personnel, equipment, everything goes to the regional utility board now. So it's not like it's going to go away. It just gets transferred.
Right.
So
Chad told me, he said if we were in this, well, then we would have a voice on the decisions, but I'm kind of I'd like to wait and see.
well, so indirect. I mean, I don't know that it's going to be more than what we have now. I guess is what I'm saying. I don't. You have now you're competing with three larger metros, or La Crescent maybe probably being double, but Alaska triple. So their concerns or what they want to do or need to do are not going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got done upgrading all of our lift stations. Well, more 99% of it.
Yeah.
We've got our big one to do yet, but we're budgeted for that. We had it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like you were saying, City on Alaska, they actually have debt on their sewer system. Would we have to absorb that then? There's no answers.
yeah, right.
My guess is, yeah, if you're gonna cost share, it's gonna
And
include the debt.
and they're doing a rate increase. I believe already in 2019. So, from what I heard,
Yeah.
So, or they're looking to. I don't know. Anyway,
I'd like to carry it over, and then we'll bring it up again in a month, and just to see what Alaska's doing tonight. If that's
I mean, just for for conversation point, it's
Okay.
fine. I mean, to have on, we're not going to take any action on it anyway.
Okay.
So,
Kelsey.
Yeah, I'm back here.
Yeah. No. All right. Somebody want to make a motion to carry it over till next month?
well, we could just make it a comment to just put it on the agenda. We don't have any action item on it, right?
Okay.
No.
All right.
So we'll just
Okay.
keep it on the agenda.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll move down to 5F, discussion regarding the order of public comment on the agenda. Well, like I was telling them, these guys, Chad always brings it up to me to, you want to take that one off of there, And I was like, well, just let it go, leave it alone. So I thought, well, I'm going to put it on there, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make it a Terry decision. I want to make it a board decision. Should we leave it alone? Should we eliminate one?
Well, this has been, so having been on the board a couple different times, I mean, it has come and gone. They put it at the beginning, we put it at the end. We've done it on both ends, and it has never been about free speech. It's been more about Robert's Rules of Order, and what happens is we tend to, if anything, violate that by discussing the topics outside of procedure. So that's more of what, in a continuous violation of that, where we're discussing as a board outside of our defined meeting time.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, you're doing a walking quorum every time multiple people, and I'm guilty of it because I will say something and you'll say, so we're essentially outside of our quorum time. So that's just one element of it. And then the other part of it is from a personal board member standpoint, I'm willing to get your feedback on your position up front. Hey, do you support or you oppose? But then to go back and revisit it again after, I changed my mind, I opposed that, and you guys did a crappy job. And it's like, well, I mean, at times it seems like we're repeating for no real effect, other than to get browbeat for the decision before you make it and after. So, I mean, that when I look at it, I'm looking for actionable intelligence, and it doesn't always appear. I mean, not that it has to be on every comment, but it's hard to improve your performance when you're not getting that. And really what you're doing is, I mean, if it's just a public comment, that is public comment. But again, you're free to say that whenever you want. Before the meeting, after the meeting, outside of the meeting. But to do it twice about the same topic doesn't seem, for me, doesn't carry any benefit. So, I mean, I saw it on there, and I'm all for putting it back to where it was. You do it before the meeting.
Yeah.
And then I think the board has to tighten up a little bit on our procedure during the public comment. So,
Yeah, technically, public comment is just
So you
supposed
guys
to be
giving
comment,
comment.
not a question and answer
Right.
session.
so
You're to put in your public comment so the board's aware of it, but we've turned it, or allowed it to become a question and answer session. Really, it's not supposed to be.
yeah. So
Every meeting I attend always has public comment at the beginning. There's never anything. I see Telma Madeire's, theirs is in the end of. But any other meeting I've ever attended, it's always.
see, I would rather have some. If you had a whole bunch of people here, and they like, there's an item on here that I haven't been up to speed on, and there's a whole bunch of people that show up. I'd rather have it before, because then you have the ability to get some feedback and before you go into the conversation on it. To get it at the end, it's like, well, now we already made a ruling on it. That's just my opinion on it.
Okay.
So that's just my preference.
Okay. Thanks. Kelsey?
I think we should keep them both. We're here to listen to them, no matter if we like it, don't want to hear it, doesn't matter.
I'm okay with that too, but we've allowed public comment to become a question and answering back and forth session. It's really not supposed to be. You're supposed to give your comment to the board, and the board takes that into consideration. It's not supposed to be a question and answer session. It's a public comment section.
And I know that I'm guilty of that, and I've been that.
We all are,
Yeah.
and we all have been. And but really, under Robert's Rules of Orders, public comment is to be just that, comment.
Well, it came up when we were at Onalaska, because when we were there was just their utility meeting.
Yeah.
And just to even speak, you need to go sign the book ahead of time.
Oh.
Yeah, they had the book up there, and then that's when Jerry said, before they even started, they said, who's signed up to come up and sign on the book, and they give you your comment. So he asked like 3 times, final call for that. So then, you start looking at, they're very strict on their process. So,
Okay.
procedure.
Well,
Yeah, I want everybody to be able to speak for sure, but I agree, it's not supposed to be a question and answer session. And it definitely is that every month. And yeah, I want everybody to have their free speech and have their voice for sure. That's what it's about. And like you say, it's a comment section. That's right there, comment. So comments usually end in a period, not a question mark. And I agree with the end of the meeting. We need those comments before we have the meeting, not after. And my phone is always on, and I have an email. And I don't mind hearing from people, and I get back hold of most people. Sometimes take me a little bit, but that's that's how I feel about it.
So,
I mean, the part about the Q&A, that's our fault.
Yeah.
I mean, the public that's not their fault. That's our fault. So we fix that regardless, but I guess the rest is up to you guys if you just want to.
somebody want to make a motion to leave it alone, or somebody want to make a motion just to eliminate the site?
Well, I'll do that. I definitely would do the motion to put it back to public comment before we make any decisions. And just try and get it all in that comment period. And if you disagree after the meeting, you could still tell me. I just don't really need to make it a formal listening session. But here's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. I got a motion by Bob and a second by Ralph. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries. Aye.
So that means when meeting's over and we're adjourned and someone comes up with you, we all need to scatter and those two people need to talk. Because then we're just back to the same thing again, a walking.
No. You're not. If you're not all engaged in giving, if it's not a board action item that we're supposed to be discussing on the agenda,
Let's
you
say
can
it
have
is.
you can have multiple people in a conversation.
Let's say it is an action item.
Then yeah, you probably need to be careful on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to go into public comment?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
second. Motion by Ralph, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Call the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Who wants to start? Go ahead, Bruce.
As far as the sewer thing is, I think I mentioned it before, there should be a meter put out there where everything comes out of the industrial park into ours. They meter ours, we should be metering theirs, because I think they're getting by with a lot more than what we think.
We know how much flow is coming through there. We know how much the pumps are running.
That doesn't measure the
My
gallons.
understanding there is a meter there now.
What's that?
My understanding there is a meter there, I'm metering.
Yeah.
We
Actually, it's right
we get a credit every month from Breezy Point.
When I see
It's
the-
worth checking on, Bruce.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have our own meter, you know.
We
I
have to
mean, the
get.
sewer
Yeah.
charges thing is coming up now, and the information is floating around. La Crosse started this thing, and they're looking for a money grab on this. And the 4 municipalities that are contributing, from what I understand, a couple of them wired up right away. So it's just a deal where if they want to play hardball, well, just because they got the disposal plant, they got federal guidelines they got to go by too. And like I say, going back to the thing coming out of the airport, I think we ought to have our own meter. I think it would pay for itself.
I mean, we do. We have our own flow meter already in there, level meter, so we know how much flow is coming through there. Well, we got to get our controller final upgrade in there, but yeah, once we get to that point, we'll be able to graph it. But they have a meter on the egress.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to believe them, that's...
No, it'll be a good sanity check. So
We have a meter at Breezy Point. We get a credit every month for it.
yeah, that one I know.
I think there's one that comes down from the north on this side, isn't there?
Breezy Point's where it comes in.
Yeah.
So everything comes in from the industrial park?
Comes in by where you own the grocery store.
Yeah, right
I
there.
think that's Breezy Point Road.
Yeah.
It comes all the way over there into ours and doesn't come in up here, off in Fan Reed. I think,
Some comes in from Fanner Reed out over here, yes.
On
yeah,
that
well, that's what I say.
intersection.
Yeah, I definitely think a meter would pay for itself. And It's too bad that you took the discussion away, you know. Evidently, it sounded to me like Chad's behind it because he's the one who was behind the 2-minute one, taking it from 5 to 3, and now you eliminated it, and it's just too bad. I know years ago, the board that was at that time, which Bob was a part of, there was commander boards up over here, and they spent like $2,300 on the ordinance to kill that, and now we're starting here with this. I mean, it's definitely a compromise on free speech any way you look at it.
Well, I don't want to take full credit for it, Bruce. I mean, obviously, the consensus of other people are the same.
Well, yeah,
but I think Bob put it.
Talk to him before the meeting starts. I'm
But
not
I-
fooled,
but I think Bob-
I've been around the block more than.
I think Bob put it exactly correct, though. We are breaking Robert's Rules of Order every time.
So, what's the problem with the question and answer? I mean, that's what you.
Because
people
you
get paid
you
for.
expect me to make a
You're trying
book.
to, legislate as a clerk, and they're the ones that make policy, not you. I mean, it's no secret,
Anything else, Bruce?
You trying to cut me off or what?
No, I'm just-
Okay,
Got anything else?
not right now, no.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Joanne.
Getting on the question of the comment session, it's the same people every month that comes in and complains and pisses and moans and argues and bellyaches about the same thing every month. That does annoy people in the crowd and it does annoy some of the people on the board. I know, I've been there, I've done it myself, but it's the same people every month that complain about the same thing. I do get phone calls at home, so I know. And that could be why they did take one of the comment sessions away. I applaud the board for doing it.
Anything else, Joanne?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. Anybody
Yep.
else?
You look in the mirror when you say that?
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm proud.
Go ahead, Joanne.
You?
Fire truck information. I'm still waiting on that to put it on Facebook. And can we get a for
Did you
sale
get a check?
sign on it?
I mean, I got a small spec sheet on it, but that's all I got.
I think that's all I got.
I can get anything.
We good for sale sign, sure.
Yeah, and a for sale sign.
You have one, don't you, Steve? No, you.
Just not getting the time to deal with it. That's
Okay.
fine.
I can get one.
All right.
I just wanted
I actually said that was true.
you had told me you were gonna give it to me a while ago and I haven't gotten it.
Okay, we'll get it for you.
Anything else, Chris?
Sorry, Chad. Kelsey. First, I think. No.
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead, Lee.
Shame on you guys. Of course you knew that was coming. You are, as a board, able to go around some of the rules of Robert's Rules of Orders. You don't have to, you as a body don't abide by Robert's Rules of Orders. It's just a good set of rules to conduct a meeting by. You guys have to abide by state statutes, county ordinances, and your own ordinances. You have not, unless the town has adopted Robert's Rules of Orders, you don't have to abide by those. And sometimes comment does necessarily have a question attached to it. I mean, it's a shame that you guys feel like the comments that we make, whether it's the same people over and over and over, or whether it's new people, it's a shame that you guys feel like being browbeat at the end of the meeting is an annoyance, is not right for you guys. So the comment that I made at the beginning of the meeting about getting phone calls, I didn't call you guys on purpose because I felt I could do it at the time of the meeting. Well, you guys will probably start seeing my phone number on your guys'
That's
caller
directed
ID.
to Ralph, Terry, and Bob, right?
I will. Yep, there are 3 of them that I will be directing them towards. So, again, shame on you guys. Absolute shame on the board for that. I'm not looking for a comment. I was making a comment.
Make my own.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Bob Wolfer, 904 Susan Place. I don't know that any of the board members ever complained about it being an annoyance. So, I mean, I know that term has been thrown out there, but that was never a comment that I heard by any board member. So,
Anybody else? Go ahead, Bruce.
You know, the 20 years I've been coming to these board meetings, probably 99.99% of the time, up until recently, there wasn't 2 comment sessions. It was just one. So it isn't that it was thrown off in the past, at least not in the 20 years. And as far as what Bob was talking about up in Alaska, you know, cities, towns, and villages are different. Townships are a unique situation as compared to a village and a city as far as signing up to speak and all that. And, you know, townships, it's a smaller municipality and, you know, they got more relaxed rules, but to take people's ability away to talk, it's, I think Lee put it mildly, it's more than shame.
I'm all for the comment session, be free willing as it's always been. I don't have any opposition to that. People have been more than willing to share their opinion, and I'm saying when you're up here, you know that that's part of it.
Well, great, but now half of it's taken away.
Well, like you said, it was always the other way, and then they added at the end. And
Well, the statement was made that years ago, I believe you made it, that it was on both ends over here, and that the years I've been coming.
No, it's only ever been, it went in the beginning, and then it got moved to the end. That didn't last very long, because everybody realized that, hey, it doesn't do any good to have the comment at the end, because if you have a comment, we want to know about it ahead of time. So that's why we moved it back to the beginning. That was the
And
goal.
then it was put on both ends for people to speak on both ends of it, and why it's taken away, I haven't heard a legitimate reason yet.
Well, for me to go back on it is I'm actually looking to get that input, so a whole bunch of people show up and say, hey, there's a bunch of information that was missing, or one person shows up, there's some information that was missing on this element. You need to support it or not support it, well, however that goes. The complain about it in the beginning and complaining about it at the end, I mean, all I'm saying is that you opposed it in the beginning or you supported it in the beginning, whichever way the board went is already done by the end.
Right, but people should be
Able to complain about it, and I'm saying go ahead, complain to me about it. We just don't have to make it a formal part of the meeting. You're welcome to voice your displeasure with it.
No, you can't at the end of the meeting. You know, it isn't funny. I mean,
I'm making a statement to everybody here. If you don't like what happened in the meeting, I am more than willing to listen to hear it again at the end. I'm just saying you don't have to have it part of the meeting.
What's wrong with having it in a public session? Nothing.
Be nice to terminate and be done with the meeting. And
Well, when the meeting's over, it's done.
I would agree with you.
Well, yeah.
So the actual items, so that's all this is going back to the structures in the beginning. So
Anything else, Bruce? Gonna move on. So, anybody else?
I think I'm going to start studying up on these Robert's Rules of Orders, and you guys are going to get even more annoyed with me because I'll start using them.
we were never annoyed.
I've always been annoyed. Whenever somebody's asking a question, Bob, maybe annoyed is not the right word, but to vote and say that you guys don't want us to talk at the end is a blatant statement of saying that you guys don't want to listen to us anymore. That meeting is done, we're done, that's it, don't want to listen to us anymore.
Oh, yeah. Anybody? Anything else, Lee?
Do you want me to keep talking?
I like to probably cut you off because you might be over your 3 minutes, but. Anything else for us?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I didn't public forum.
Anybody else? Can I get a motion to close the public comment?
So moved.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Mitch, second by Terry. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Can I get a motion to go into closed session, please?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ralph, second by Mitch.
Roll call. Supervisor Craig. Supervisor Thorne.
Yes.
Chairman Schaller.
Yes.
Supervisor Bromer. Yes. Supervisor Wolford.
Yes.
Thanks, Ross.
In regard to the applicants for the seasonal maintenance employee, I'd make a motion that Steve Pintz and Steve Liga conduct the initial interviews make a recommendation, and Supervisor Thorne will then act upon that recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion by Mitch and a second by Bob. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a
It's my
motion.
birthday, I wanna go home.
Motion by
Happy
Mitch, second by
birthday.
Kelsey. All in further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Hey.
Thank you.
Did you get